Our new assignment, 119 checkerboards, game pieces. Excuse me. So if I click on view assignment, it takes me to the instructions. We're going to go to tinkercad.com. And then you might need to create a new account, or you might have one if you had one from Intro to Art earlier. I'm going to click on this button once you've created your account to make a new design. This is going to kind of bring me to my design space. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to look on the side here, and we're going to decide what kind of piece we want for our checkerboards. We have hearts, we have stars, we've got cylinders, all sorts of stuff in here. Okay, so I'm going to just show you how to make a classic checker, but you can see how you could use some of these other pieces to do something more dynamic. So I'm going to grab out a piece. And then one of the things I got to do right away is down here in the corner, I need to edit my grid. I'm going to change my grid into inches. So that's something that I can pay attention to. It makes more sense to me. And I'm going to change the snap grid to 1/64 of an inch. Okay. And so now when I click on these handles, I'm going to get sizes in inches. So I'm going to want to click on this box. And on my checkerboard pieces are, the squares are 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go 1.25, that's 1.25 inches. And then I'll click on this one, 1.25, that's 1.25 inches. So now this is going to be a 1/4 inch smaller than my checker pieces. If your checker piece is for a 2-inch board, I'll change the color. Make this one green. So if it's 2 inches, 2 inches minus 1/4 is 1.75. So I'm going to change 1.75. I'm going to take the height and I'm going to change that to 1/4 inch, 0.25. Same thing for this one. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to change the height to 0.25. Okay. If I hold Control, I can actually move around the board. I can see my checker pieces are on their way. Now, everything I'm going to do for this orange one, I can do for the green one. I'm going to delete the green one just because I just want the design to be a little bit easier to read. You can also grab this cube on the corner here, and you can drag your design around. Okay. So now classic checkers have like a little design and a little ring on the outside. So I'm going to go down here, and you're going to find there's this little tube extrusion. So I'm going to bring that out, and it's going to be not quite the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here. I'm going to say 0.25. 0.25. Oops, sorry. 1.25. I'm in the weeds. There we go. 1.25. 1.25. And then the height on this one is going to be 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to, instead of 1/4 here, I'm going to take this to 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. So I've got that little ring that helps the checker frame. It's like a picture frame for the design. Up here on the upper left, I got this little duplicate button. So I'm going to click on that. And now I've got 2 of them. Okay. So now I'm going to need to raise this piece up. So it's 0.25 above the ground. Hold on. 0.125, 1/8 of an inch off the ground. And I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to set it right on top of my other piece. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to use my control to move around. I'm going to check and make sure that the piece is in the right spot. I can use my nudge key to sort of nudge it. See how it's like a little bit off there? It's a little bit over the edge. So you're gonna want to like look at it from an angle. And I'm gonna zoom around. Just gonna look at it from all sides. So this is a eighth of an inch, and this is a quarter inch. So that's 3/8. So I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna drag this one up to 0.25 plus 125 is, oh, I gotta do it. I can't do it in my head and talk at the same time. 0.375. So I'm gonna make that height 0.375. And now this one I can put right on top. Whoa. I'm gonna put this one right on top again, and then I'll use my arrow keys to nudge. Now the reason I'm able to nudge is because I've made the grid 1/64. If it's a quarter inch, every time I move my arrow key, it's going to move a quarter inch. So if you're having trouble with nudge, it's because you forgot to change this to 1/64 of an inch. So I'm just going to make sure it looks good. I'm going to draw a box around it once I've got it. And I'm going to click on this up here. It's called group. I got my checker grouped. Okay, so there it is. Nice checker. If I wanted to, I could change the color. Maybe I'm going to do a classic checker, red and black. So there's a red checker. Now I need to add a design to the plain side of the piece. There's a bunch of different shapes here. You can do a little star. You can do a little heart. I think a classic checker has a star. So I'm going to bring that out. I'm going to make a star. And just like before, maybe I'll do a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch. And then this height, I want this height to be the same as this height of this ring. And I'll explain that in a second. So let me make that height 0.125. So that's 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to make this height 0.375. And now when I drag this over here, it's actually going to be the perfect height. That's really important that the inside piece here is the same height as the ring, which I'll explain in a second. So if I group this now, I've got a checker. Now when we print, hot plastic is going to go across and across and across, and the plastic kind of sags a little bit. So we need this inner piece so that the checker doesn't sag when we print it out. So I'm going to flip this 180. Got this little handle here. I'm going to hover. I'm going to flip it over to 180 degrees. If you screw up, you can undo it. You don't want it to be crooked. It's got to be exactly 180, so be careful with that. Now I want to add a design here, a custom design that relates to my piece for the kings of my board. Lots of ways to do that. I'll show you a couple. One of the fun ways is to text. So I could come in here and I could type king. And I could shape this down to a certain size, make this an 1/8 inch tall, raise it up, and I could park that word king in my piece if I wanted to. So that'd be an okay way to go. That's right here, this text one. Whoops. So I'm deleting the right thing. Another fun way to do custom designs is right down here, Scribble. So if I jump on Scribble and I land this on here, let's say my checkerboard has got like a dinosaur theme. So I can do like the head of a brontosaurus, the body, glimpse of the little brontosaurus legs. That looks like a turtle right now. And then give it a little brontosaurus tail. All right, and then if you screw it up, you can erase. Say you don't like the bump in the tail here. You can refine your design. And then you can click done. When you're done, you'll have a little dinosaur. Again, I'll make the height 0.125. I'll float it off the floor 0.375. Zoom out a little bit. And I can take this little dinosaur and I can drag that in there. Change the shape of it as you, sometimes you just gotta eyeball it. And then draw a box around it and group it. And so there I have my checker piece. I'm gonna inspect it one time, just make sure it looks like it's what I want, kind of zoom in. If I need to, I can draw a box and I can ungroup it, and then I can start to move stuff around a little bit. And then when you fix it, you can regroup it. All right, so now I need to talk to the printer. It's called pre-flight. So you're gonna tell me your name, and you're gonna tell me what it is by naming it. And then I'm gonna want, maybe I want 13 blue, and I want 13 white. Okay, so that's what I would say, and I would print off, then Mr. Carlson will print off 13 blue ones, and then I'll print off 13 white ones. If your design is all the same, you don't need a second checker. Now, if you want to make more than one of these things, I can click on the copy button right here, copy it. Then I'm going to go click on the Rubik's Cube here, the little logo. I'm going to go create new design. And then I'm going to paste. And then I'm going to ungroup this thing. Sometimes you have to click ungroup a couple times before it really comes apart. Let's see, that's not working super great. So I've got my piece here. Let me go back to the other one. Once I've got it copied, click on Tinker this to get there. Maybe this one I can ungroup. All right, so we'll get a little advanced. I'm going to make a little hole here. I'm going to put a hole on top, sort of erase my little dinosaur. So I can group that. And now the dinosaur's gone. Now I can get out my scribble and maybe I'll draw a little stegosaurus or something. Click on done. It's not a great dinosaur, but you get the idea. And I'll group that. And now I'm going to, once I got those pieces, I'm going to click on the export button here. One of the last things I'm going to do is resize it. The height is too high. I'm going to make this like 3/8 of an inch high. It's a good height, or a 1/4 inch high. It's a really nice checker size. 3/8, I'll do 3/8 for this one. I'm going to click on the export button. And I'm going to use the STL file. That's going to go to your downloads. And then depending upon if you have 1 or 2 pieces, you're going to upload those for the assignment. And that's pretty easy, actually. It's kind of fun. One last thing I want to show you is we have this other spot called Thingiverse. So if I go to Thingiverse, this is a little bit more advanced, but I can search designs on Thingiverse. So maybe I want a Triceratops. So I can search and I can see if there's any good Triceratops designs like this one right here. So I might be able to click on this, and then sometimes you can use their ideas or their designs to make your piece. Okay. So that's another version that you have out there. A lot of these are printed with like fancier printers than ours, so we couldn't do this. We have a hard time doing some of these. But like this one, we could turn this on its side and we could print something like that. So it's a little complicated, but I want to show you that that's out there. If I type in Triceratops on Thingiverse, this is kind of where you would get. And so like I could take this design, I could take the head and put on my checker, or this little piece right here. This is a good little design. And it's got the different pieces. They show you how they make it, which is pretty cool. If we had more time, we would do custom like this in Photoshop, but we're kind of out of time for the semester. So go back here. So just a reminder, when your piece is done, your name, how many pieces you want, and then what color, and then export it as an STL file. And that's what you upload. So some of you upload 1, some of you upload 2.